What up, everybody? My name is Pastor Jay, and welcome to the channel where we talk everything Jesus. Why? Because as the Bible says, for by him all things were created, and all things were created through him and for him. So it's only natural we would talk about Jesus. Well, as the title suggests, we're going to talk about something really interesting today, and that is the lessons that I learned personally from church planting as a failed church planter or pastor that was trying to start a church. And it's been a long journey, and we'll get into that and kind of try to briefly go through that. But even if you're one of those people who's going, I don't really care, I feel like I've been praying to God, and I think it's been clear to me he wants me to plant a church, and I don't need to hear about your sob story. I don't need to hear about where you went wrong. I just want to know, how can I get enough money to raise so I can get a light kit, a stage, and I can get a bunch of people to follow me and fundraise and do all these things, because I'm on fire for the Lord and I want to do all this stuff. And we're going to get to that. And I am excited for you. First of all, I just want to say that. I want to say that if God is calling you into ministry, and furthermore, calling you into church planting, it's a wonderful thing. And it may truly, genuinely be a big thing that God is going to do through you. And I'm excited for that. And I want to commend you for saying yes, your willingness to say yes to God, because it is a challenging thing to throw the rest of your life away and to start following God and to live out that mission. So I'm very grateful for that. So I just want to talk with you guys about some of the things that happened on my journey, because I was really an excited man who sort of lived a prodigal, messed up lifestyle that felt like I really didn't have anywhere that I was going in my life. And when I really connected and got deeply in with the Lord, I started having these reoccurring dreams, and I really felt called into ministry. And I definitely still believe that I actually was. But what ensued after that was quite amazing, and the lessons that I've learned from it are absolutely incredible. And so if you are one of these people that really wants to plant a church, I know I wouldn't have probably wanted to listen to me, but I'm telling you, if you just take a few minutes and listen to me and kind of think through some of the things that I am talking about, I think it's going to be helpful to you. So basically, my journey started about 6-7 years ago, where I was having those dreams and I felt called into ministry. I talked with some counselors and even some pastors, and they really affirmed that, yeah, maybe genuinely God is calling me into ministry. And so I did all the steps that somebody who wants to plant a church, because I really genuinely felt God not only wanted me to preach and be a minister, but also that he wanted me to start a new movement and start a new church. And so I found out this term, church planting, which is where you start a new church and plant it from scratch. And so I get into all the things that come along with that. I went and I talked to certain pastors and asked them their advice on it, and then got hooked up with a church planting organization and had a lot of awesome voices along the way. Some shout outs, really, like Nick Boring, love you, man. And my pastor later on that came into the picture, Sonny, love you, Sonny. And wow, man, what a journey it really was. So it started off with me getting into a church planting organization, learning about what it was that I needed to do, the steps that I needed to take, if you will. And then I went and I did something called an assessment. This is where, as a church planter, you will go and they will basically rip apart your life for about 3 or 4 days and really get into the nitty-gritty and find out your motivations and everything else. And it's really helpful for you. But I want to tell you something. When I went through this assessment, at the end of it, they give you either a green light, red light, or yellow light. Yellow light being cautionary, we believe in you, but let's proceed with caution. You're not quite ready yet. Red light, no, we don't think you're ready for this at all, or maybe ever. And then green light is, let's go. You've got the experience. We think it's time for you to go. We want to get behind you and put some money and support behind you. So I got something that was even worse than any of these three things. I got no disposition, which, as you can imagine, means we're not sure exactly what it is that we want to do with you. And so I was confused, angry, and I called said figure in another church planting organization, Nick Boring, and I'm freaking out. I'm mad. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is absolutely my dream. God has called me to do this. I don't care. I'm doing it. Right? And so I move forward, and that's exactly what I do. I know that I've got to move forward, and so I do. And I get connected with another organization, and Converge, by the way, along the way was like, listen, we're not saying forget about it. We want to help you, but just you need some time, a couple of years. And I didn't really want to hear it, but then I kind of calmed down. And mind you, this is 2020, the very beginning, right before COVID hits. And I go, I'm going to get in with a residency with a pastor. And that's where Detroit Church and Sonny Smith comes in to play. And so I get involved with there. And I got to tell you, over the next 3 years, the challenge that I got from this man and other pastors around me, also shout out Pastor Ken, really helped me to see that this is a journey, and it's not about hurrying up and planting a church, but really about what is God doing inside of you, and why is it that you so badly want to hurry up and plant a church? Because the truth is, there's a lot of other churches out there, and why not just promote those churches or be a part of those churches and move into another lane? Clearly, my answer at that time, and I still believe, is because sometimes God calls men, sometimes women, depending on what your ecclesiology is, to plant a church. And so basically, I felt as if I was in a good position to be able to do this and plant a church. And that's when everything went wild. Nothing was falling into place when I finally got ordained by my pastor. And now I'm a pastor and I've done all these things for the last few years, and it's time to go. Everything's falling apart. I'm talking all the fundraising is not going well. I'm talking the launch team, every time we would build to anything would just sort of disintegrate. And all these things were just not quite working out for me. And all the while I'm praying and relying on God, and I'm depressed. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm just like, all these dreams that you put in my heart, and where are they at, God? You're not helping me. You're not giving me any insight into what it is that I need to do. And so I just keep praying, staying dependent on him, and I'm walking down the road, and a few years later, I'm still not planted. And finally, after all of my failed efforts and all these difficult situations, culminated to this hard experience that I dealt with the passing of my mother from dementia. And it really sent me into a bad depressive state. And at this point, it was really important for me to ask myself, what is it that you want to do from here? Do you want to just keep pushing along and doing what you feel like God is calling you to do? Or do you just trust on God and strip back all the ideas of what you think he wants you to do right now, and instead just be dependent on him and prioritize your relationship with Jesus above all things? And so after careful prayer and reconciliation from other pastors, I decided that was the best thing to do. I stepped away and dealt with a lot of difficult things in that depressing season. And I really relied on the Lord. And I started to realize, some of these things that I felt like I needed to hurry up and do, I realized, maybe God is not so quick to need me to do it right this minute. Maybe it's me that's being impatient, not him. Maybe all this stuff that I'm saying, like I need to hurry up and you're holding me back, was not actually God telling me I needed to move forward and hurry up and do this thing, but instead, he was actually telling me it's time to slow down. I just want you. I love you. I sincerely want you more than I do your efforts with the church. And so I took some time away, and, I made some videos here and there. I did some stuff on social media, but I kind of scaled back because I thought, God really wants to speak into my life in this season. So that's exactly what I did. And through that, I learned so much. And I remember having this dream one time of just this empty building. And there's all these boards, everything, the framework of this house is all built up, but there's nothing in it. And there's no drywall, there's nothing, there's no real foundation. And in the middle of it is a stage with a lighting kit and a mic, right? Mic laying right there on the stage. And I woke up and I'm like, what does all this mean? And after really praying and thinking about it, I realized, you know what? This is me. Like, I want to build this thing, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I want to do something with my life. I want to serve the Lord. I want to help people out. But I realized I was so attached to the vision and loving the vision that I forgot about what it was that God wanted to do in and through me. And I lost sight. And I realized that God was actually preventing me from an absolute disaster by making me wait, by making me scale down and realize maybe it isn't time to plant a church. Maybe it is time to strip things away and do something different, which leads me to the point where I'm at now. I actually ended up leaving Detroit area, which is where I lived, and I moved down into Florida. Some of you guys may even be in shock of that. I haven't made that completely publicly announced amongst even all of my friends. Most of them know. But In that time, I have really spent a lot of time consecrating myself to God and really asking about what are the next steps. I don't want to fail, God. I don't want to give up on church planting. I still want to do what you're calling me to do. And I really realized what God was showing me as I've been down here is that it's about being obedient with him in the now, not in this rushing sense. And what I began to discover was that actually I was operating on my own timing and I wasn't operating on God's timing. And I was starting to realize that what actually God was doing is he was showing me to be more on Kairos time than Chronos time. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these terms, in the New Testament, there's two different types of timing, Kairos and Chronos. Chronos